Welcome to Prime Debate. Our legal system is infested with umpteen ills and its overall is the need of the hour. A step in this direction is the proposed Legal Practitioners Regulations and Maintenance Bill. But the legal fraternity is up in arms against the legislation. As for them, it is unwarranted government intervention. In Prime Debate, we discuss the bill and the opposition to it. As the name suggests, the Legal Practitioners Bill intends to regulate the lawyers and protect the interests of the clients. The legislation proposes a body with powers to examine the complaints against the lawyers and to punish them.
Legal practitioners may no longer find it easy to dupe their clients. The centre is coming up with the legislation to safeguard the interests of the litigants. If passed by the Lok Sabha, the Legal Practitioners Bill 2010 would establish a Legal Services Board for India with retired judges as members. The board would enjoy absolute powers to take action against the lawyers. The bill deems anyone dealing with legal issues to be a legal professional even though they are not enrolled as advocates. An ombudsman will be established for complaints against the professionals. It provides for a scheme to consider and determine complaints against legal practitioners. The legislation also makes a provision for legal services free of charge and for connected purposes. However, advocates throughout the country have taken strong exception to the move. Critics say there is no need for a super regulator above the Bar Council of India. For them, a body like the Legal Services Board would usurp the powers of the All India Bar Council and is unconstitutional. They also oppose the concept of appointing an ombudsman, describing it as anathema to independence of the bar. The Bar Council feels that any control of the profession should be by the professionals themselves. Instead of creating another top-heavy body, they say practical and reasonable steps should be taken to correct the legal system and strengthening it.
To discuss the Legal Practitioners Bill, we have in our studios Om Prakash Sharma, Vice Chairman, Bar Council, Punjab and Haryana High Court; Harpreet Singh Gyani, Bar at Law and Advocate, Punjab and Haryana High Court; Jasbir Dhillon, a social activist and litigant; and Javeer Yadav, former President, Bar Council, Punjab and Haryana High Court. Welcome to the discussion. Mr. Sharma, I'll start with you. Please. Why are the lawyers protesting against the Legal Practitioners Act?
In fact, it's a very draconian measure. We are not visualizing its far-reaching effects. It's an effort to make the bar adjunct of judiciary. What is happening these days? Degeneration is everywhere, but in comparison to other fields, it's very minor in the bar. In fact, they want to strip the bar of its regulatory powers and entrust it to the courts. What will happen? Today, I will regulate myself as the judges are doing themselves. What will happen if this power goes to the high courts? No Shanti Bhushan will come forward to say that more than half Chief Justices of India were correct. It was the High Court bar, I am thankful to him, hats off to the bar, that at cash at judges' doors came. High Court bar rose to the occasion and result is before us. Otherwise the matter would have been buried like all other matters as has been done in previously.
But Mr. Sharma, let us not only deal with this particular incident. Don't you think the bar councils generally have been ineffective and there is need for some kind of regulation of the legal fraternity?
No, we cannot say that they are generally ineffective. In fact, I know very cases where the lawyers have been stripped of their enrollment certificates. Not that these have become defunct. Functioning is going on, but that is not the issue. Issue is how to put reins on the bar so that they may not expose the corruption, misdeed, malfeasance of the government.
Mr. Gyani, I'll start with the basic issue. Do you think the lawyers fraternity, the legal fraternity in general, needs some kind of regulation?
Oh, completely. Any fraternity, whether it's a legal or the medical or even the journalistic, needs absolutely all kinds of regulation. No body of persons can be allowed to do whatever they want to do. But the point is that we already have a mechanism in place, the Advocates Act.
But is that mechanism effective?
That mechanism is potentially effective. It is not being used properly. But to say that I need to buy a new car because my old car, which I don't like to drive, is not going to serve me is not the purpose. The thing is, you have a mechanism, it is capable of dealing with the situation.
I don't think the comparison with the cars, every 3 years or 4 years we do change the car, no?
But yes, but if you don't use the car at all and you say I need a new car still, although I bought one yesterday, but I still, because I want a new car. See, what is happening is these bodies are being set up only for one purpose, and that purpose is not really the regulation of any profession. I'll be very politically incorrect, I'll call a spade a spade. You need to find some kind of postings for retired judges, for retired bureaucrats.
Right.
You need some kind of thing where a retired judge can say, all right, for another 5 years I enjoy some kind of power over people, I have a car with a red light and security and everything. That's basically what is happening. Otherwise, all around the world, you have lawyers. I'm a barrister. In England, the General Counsel of the Bar is charged with a similar purpose. They have a bar standards body. Again, who is manning it? It's barristers and some lay people.
Let me come to the second point, Harpreet. Should the Bar Council be strengthened, or do we need a new act but of a different type?
The Bar Council has enough teeth should it want to exercise them. The Bar Council unfortunately does not. The Bar Council has been very, very lax in taking disciplinary action against lawyers. That's a fact. If I today go and complain against a lawyer, the chances...
I register my protest. Please carry on.
If I today go and complain about a lawyer, the chances that the lawyer would suffer any prejudice are virtually nil. I don't have the statistics. He will be able to provide the statistics to you. But if the Bar Council wants to do something, they can do something.
I think with your remark, you have set a cat amongst the pigeons. I will come to that, I think.
Yes,
Ms. Dillo, what is your opinion? You've been a litigant, you know about the other litigants, and you've been a social activist. Do you think the legal fraternity in general needs some kind of a regulation of the kind which is coming in?
They need a regulation, but if it's going to corrupt it further, then we don't need it.
But what is the general impression that you get once you read the proposed act?
You see, it's going to have its loops and loose ends some way or the other, and like certain things, you see, you put some people at the top, there's going to be corruption, and it's not going to be 100% clear on what you're going to do.
But don't you think the kind of a check which is being brought is the need of the hour?
It is a need of the hour, but the way of bringing it should be monitored.
So what kind of an act do you propose? If you were to kind of, as a litigant, the kind of issues you dealt with, the kind of problems you faced?
We need transparent people at the top, where a person can go fearlessly and address his problems. And then, you see, the thing is that the person should be accessible to the common man. It's not the rich and the powerful. It is for the middle people who suffer.
But I thought the lawyers are generally accessible. They are all the
not
time
the lawyers, the body that you're going to create.
Let me get Mr. Yadav into the discussion. Harpreet Gyani mentioned that the bar councils have not been effective. Your comment on that?
Mr. Gyani, you may not be aware of the real facts. As far as the State Bar Council of Punjab and Haryana is concerned, I have on record to say that about 27 or 30 FIRs have been got registered against persons who have been enrolled, who were enrolled with the Bar Council as lawyers. So they are facing the trial like any other litigant in the courts.
You will correct me if I'm wrong. They were FIRs were registered because they had fake law degrees.
This is one,
but not because that they had done something which had aggrieved a client. How many of those do we have?
Yeah, there are examples against those persons also. They were facing the litigation as a lawyer. They got the license. They are prosecuted in courts as well as for misconduct also.
Yes. Since you are the chairman of the Bar Council, do we have any kind of statistics to answer Mr. Gyani's question?
Exact number at the right moment.
Mr. Sharma, do we have any statistics?
No.
It's
not there at present at the moment.
There are
but there are instances.
There are complaints. When we
how come the general perception, Mr. Sharma, is that the Bar Council is not doing enough, and that a lot of lawyers who are indulging in unethical professional practices tend to kind of get away?
I give an answer.
Yes.
Perhaps the people are not aware of the actual position. Anyone who doesn't get a relief in courts is filing a complaint against an advocate. Now we don't brand it as a genuine complaint or a frivolous complaint. As we have litigation in courts, the frivolous litigation and the genuine litigation. So in the Bar Council also, we have frivolous complaints also. So if you expect every frivolous complaint to be taken care of and advocate punished, this is not possible and practical. because for dealing with
So that means the
complaints,
general perception is not based
Not
on
based on facts.
full and correct information.
Not based on facts.
Mr. Yadav, I want to touch on another point. Now, there's going to be a provision, there is a provision for a legal services board
Yes, sir.
with retired judges as members. Now, I think a similar system exists in the United Kingdom. What's wrong with this?
no, as far as the composition of the legal services board is concerned, I would just point out that in the Advocates Act itself, we have a 3-tier system. When a complaint comes to the Bar Council, it is examined by a full body of the elected representatives and the 2 Advocate Generals. That is the composition of the Bar Council, State Bar Council. Now, if the full House considers there is some merit in the complaint, it refers to the disciplinary committee.
Okay.
Now, disciplinary committee decides it after having a full procedure adopted, trial, and then gives us a finding. Now, the litigant who makes a complaint has a right of appeal to the Bar Council of India. It is provided in the Advocates Act itself, and if still feel dissatisfied, he can go to the Supreme Court of India. Now, he has 2 remedies of appeal against the decision of the State Bar disciplinary body of the State Bar
But
Council.
Mr. Yadav, even in the proposed change that is being brought about, the legal services board, the members will be appointed in consultation with the chairman of the Bar Council.
This is one, but it doesn't say whether the consultation would be taken by 2/3 majority or majority of it, and what is the effect of the consultation being sought from the chairman of the Bar Council of India.
And it also says, Mr. Sharma, that the Bar Council will continue to perform the functions that it performs now under the Advocates Act of 1961.
But it doesn't say so. That we have a repealing section that says in
powers
notwithstanding
have been
anything
crippled.
in any other law
In
for the
fact,
time
the
being.
judgment will be sent to the Bar Council. Disciplinary committee disapproves it, then it will have to give reasoning. Then High Court, shackles of the High Court, they will go to the High Court. High Court has right now, High Court is nowhere in the picture so far as regulation is concerned of the lawyers. But now High Court has been brought into the picture. So this all effort to subjugate the bar and make them just adjunct of the judiciary.
Ms. Dello, we are going to go into a break, but before that, there is also a proposal for a consumers panel. Now, that is going to watch the interests of the consumers and the clients. So, don't you think as a client, looks like a very positive thing?
Yes, it's a welcome suggestion that we do need a consumer panel. If everything has a consumer panel, why not the...
Why don't you tell us what kind of problems as litigants you and the other litigants face in day-to-day functioning?
Apart from the length of the litigations, the finances involved, then they don't get surety, you see, how clean the lawyer is. Sometimes, like in courts I've seen it, it's not that you're mediating between the 2 parties. It is as if you're selling out your client. So these incidences are happening.
Are you speaking that from your own experience and the experience of other litigants?
There are litigants, मैं आम जट दी ते common बंदे दी गल कर रही हूँ, अपनी नहीं कर रही. मैनू जिद्दन कोई बेचन लगूगा, I'll see. They can't sell me because I'll come to know.
Mr. Gyani, is that news to you, or are you generally aware of these things happening?
It's much exaggerated. What she's saying is much exaggerated. Having said what I have said, I will tell you this, that most lawyers are not corrupt. Most lawyers are only trying to make a living. For them it's a profession. But when a client comes to you and says, please prolong this litigation as much as possible, then you will find that a lot of lawyers feel tempted to go along with what the client is saying. No lawyer would delay a case on his own account. He would not. Therefore, to brand all lawyers with the same brush, it's absolutely...
I think you are speaking in defense of the lawyers. I think you're being politically very, very correct. I think we're going to discuss that.
We shall.
Now it's time for a short break. We'll continue the discussion when we return. We are discussing